Hey guys, I'm back making some Daredevil reviews. Like, Daredevil Born Again Season 2 just ended recently, and now we can talk about it. In this season, both Matt and Karen are once again trying to take down Fisk from being mayor and trying to get rid of, like, this ship called the Northern Star. But when Fisk decides to destroy that ship and have it sink into the ocean, Daredevil is framed for that, and so is Karen. So both of them have to go into hiding and try to figure out how to stop Fisk from making all these crimes, while other characters like Matthew Lillard is later involved, as well as Kristen Ritter making her comeback as Jessica Jones. Now, if you guys have been watching my channel, then you know that I am a fan of both the Daredevil character and the original Netflix series. It has great character development and great moments where characters are mostly just talking about what's going on with Wilson Fisk or the Punisher, and of course having some of the best action sequences in television and on streaming. And of course, I did enjoy the first season of Born Again. It wasn't as good as the Netflix series, but it was still enjoyable, even if it did have some issues with the reshoots and some of the humor. But overall, I thought that season was a good enough way to bring Daredevil back into his own world and have it continue his story. And if you want to know my full thoughts on season 1, I have reviews for each episode of that season on my channel right now. But you will also be wondering, why are you reviewing the entire season now when you should have reviewed like each episode like you did with the first season? Well, that's mostly because when I was reviewing the episodes from season 1, they just weren't doing well with views. Yeah, each episode I reviewed of Born Again just had lesser views every time I reviewed a new episode, but my reviews for the first 3 seasons, as well as my review for the Ben Affleck Daredevil film, got a lot more views, so I decided to just wait until this season ended and then I would review all of season 2 in one video. Also, this video is going to contain spoilers for this season and for season 1 as well, so if you have not watched season 1 and 2 of Born Again, then just watch those first and then go back to this video. Or if you don't care about spoilers for whatever reason, then I hope you enjoy this video. So now that I finished season 2 of Born Again, I can say that this season was good. It's not great, it still has some of the same issues that season 1 had, but I still enjoyed it just a teensy bit more than that season. Let's get the obvious out of the way. Both Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio are once again fantastic as Matt Murdock and Wilson Fisk. They're still giving it their all, and they look like they're not doing this for a paycheck because they look like they really care about their characters. As well as Deborah Ann Wool as Karen Page, which is great to see her again, by the way. I really missed her in season 1. Another person I was happy to see back on screen is Wilson Bethel as Bullseye. He is once again terrifying as this character. Every time he comes on screen, he gives the film a very unsettling tone, making you wonder, what is he gonna do in the middle of this scene? In particular, one scene where he's in a diner ordering ice cream and is already killing a bunch of Wilson Fisk's guys, the anti-vigilante police force, which that was a great scene and a great way to set up more of how terrifying this character is. As for the new characters that were introduced in season 1 coming back for this, some I liked more than others and some not so much. So the ones I did like having back are Michael Gandolfini as Daniel Blake, and I was more interested in his arc where he's trying to learn more about what's going on with this fake Wilson Fisk that's been posting a lot of news, while still growing his bond with BB Urich, who later finds out that BB Urich is that fake Fisk. And when both him and Buck are trying to figure out a way to stop her from doing that, Buck tries to get him to blackmail her so that she doesn't do it again, and so that Buck can kill her. But that also puts Daniel in a very conflicted part where he's starting to learn a little bit more of the dark stuff with Fisk and Buck as well. Like when he's learning more about what Buck has been doing and why he needed Daniel's help, he was like, oh, I might have not picked the right side. And for me, Daniel in this whole show is the only new character I was interested in the most. The rest, not so much. I mean, I'm curious to see how they would go with BB Urich now that she's working at the Bulletin. But before that, this movie really just has her as a fake Wilson Fisk trying to expose him for being a murderer. And it doesn't really do much besides that for her because she's just a rebel that's trying to get rid of him. And as for Heather, her I'm a little mixed on because now she's working for Fisk and is unfortunately not recovering mentally after the events that she dealt with with Muse in the first season. So throughout the season, we see her slowly losing her mind and kind of becoming more of a villain, while we also get moments where she's just seeing Muse in her head, to by the end when we see her put on Muse's mask, making it look like that she's gonna be the new Muse now, which apparently that also happened in the comics. So, I mean, the way they set it up, I'm like, that's probably not the best way to set her up as the new Muse because of the way they execute it. I think the action sequences in this season are better than the action sequences in season 1, because in season 1, most of the action in that season wasn't that great, because most of the action sequences in that season had too many quick cuts, making it hard to see what was going on, as well as not being lit very well. Here, I think the action sequences are a little bit better. You see a lot of the fight sequences going on, and there are a couple of brutal moments, like one scene with Wilson Fisk having his own hallway fight scene. And just like with the first 3 seasons, this has another hallway fight scene done in one take, this time with both Daredevil and the swordsman breaking out some prisoners, although there are times where you can tell that there are some moments where they did cut in a couple of moments, which does kind of ruin the one take, but it's still a very fun scene. But beyond that, the action sequences aren't still some of the best in the show compared to the original series, where there really weren't that many action sequences that were memorable, but they are decent compared to the first season. And this season also has a cool way of connecting back to the original Marvel Netflix era. And what I mean by that is that you would get flashbacks that are filmed like they were used to filmed in the original series, with just the full screen look and a bunch of yellow lighting everywhere, where it's supposed to take place way back before Matt and Foggy got their own firm and got Karen, which was also great to see Eldon Henson back as Foggy for those moments, even though it's just a flashback making him look younger, where we also get flashbacks of Fisk being with Wesley and learning more about this art museum that Vanessa used to work at, where he got that painting from her. That, I will admit, was cool, just seeing them transition from modern day Daredevil to Netflix Daredevil in those flashbacks. And they're also a good way for Matt to realize what would Foggy do in certain moments that Matt gets himself stuck in. Like, there's a whole episode where he is just carrying Bullseye, and Bullseye's badly injured, and Matt doesn't want to kill him because he knows that's not the right way. So he tries to think of other ways to try to help him and try to think, what would Foggy do? Because Foggy wouldn't do anything like killing him. Now, most of the season is just Matt Murdock as Daredevil, because throughout most of the season, you're just seeing him in full costume, while you only get like a few scenes where he's just walking around the city as Matt Murdock. You don't see him as a lawyer throughout most of the season because of what happened in the end of season 1. So he's really just Daredevil most of the time. And that kind of takes away more of what I liked about the Matt Murdock character, where when I'm thinking of Daredevil, I'm just thinking more of Matt Murdock under the costume, looking at him as a person with real problems, where he still has that when he's in his Daredevil costume, but just seeing him more as Daredevil just kind of loses more of him just being Matt Murdock. And he really doesn't go back to being Matt Murdock until episode 7, when he decides to go in lawyer mode and try to help Karen in court. Now, I get they want him to just stay Daredevil because Matt Murdock is a fugitive at this point and he's in hiding, so I mean, at least have some moments where he's still Matt Murdock for just a little bit. Now, as for Matthew Lillard, he does have some great scenes throughout the season, but unfortunately, he's only in it for like a few scenes in like 3 to 4 episodes, and you unfortunately don't get to see him present in the story, at least not a whole lot. He only appears in some scenes that's supposed to either help or make Wilson Fisk mad, and he's just gone most of the time. I also gotta mention Jessica Jones, who I do like seeing come back for this show because I love Kristen Ritter as the character in her own show. So part of me does want to say it's great seeing her back here. But at the same time, when you think about it, she does feel kind of shoehorned in this season, because when we first see her, she's really just there to take down some guys that try to kill both her and her daughter, so she needs Daredevil's help for that, and pretty much after that problem's solved, she usually just comes in most of the time just to be with Matt, and that's about it. And she also didn't have a lot of screen time in this season. She had almost just about the same screen time Punisher had in season 1, even though she had just just a little bit more screen time than he did. Because in the first season, Punisher only had 2 episodes, and Jessica Jones has 3, so at least I can give her that. And my last issue is that there are some parts that do feel formulaic, like the kind that we've been seeing so many times in Daredevil, where it's now reached a point where it is getting tired. Like, there'll be scenes where characters are about to do terrible things, but then other characters are like, no, we can't do that because that's not what we are. Like one scene when they have Bullseye imprisoned in their hideout, Karen is about to shoot him, but Matt stops her from doing that, and he tries to convince her like, no, we can't do this. If we do this, then we're no better than Wilson Fisk. It's a kind of formulaic thing we've been seeing in both this show as well as the original show, and you can already tell they're using it too much, where you're just like, okay, this is getting old. Can we try not to recycle the same story plots over and over again? That being said, it does lead to a satisfying conclusion when they finally find out that Wilson Fisk is the one that destroyed the Northern Star, and everyone around New York finds out that he's the one that's been doing terrible stuff, which exposes him for being a terrible mayor, which causes Fisk to go berserk and kill every Daredevil supporter in a hallway, leading to Daredevil himself. And now people know that he's a terrible person, which, no surprise. Fisk has now kind of lost everything. His time of being mayor, and Vanessa is now dead, and he's kind of now at the point where he really doesn't have anything left to lose. He's kind of lost everything. I could kind of say the same about Matt, because now everyone knows that he's Daredevil because he confessed in court as a way to help Karen get out of prison and to expose more Fisk being a horrible mayor. But that also led to Matt getting arrested for his crimes he's been doing as Daredevil. So now he's stuck in prison with Fisk's former task force. So I don't know what they're gonna do with season 3. Matt's now in prison and Fisk is in hiding, and they're both coming back for season 3, so we'll have to see what happens there. So season 2 of Born Again is almost on par with season 1 for me. I just like it just a hair more than the first season, because at least this season doesn't have any of that weird quirky humor or those awkward reshoots, which if you watch season 1, you can really notice those reshoot problems. But it still has some side characters that were introduced in season 1 but don't really have much to do here. Still not having some of the best action compared to the first season, and some moments that were slow. The original series had that, sure, but this season had some moments where I'm like, I'm just not interested. Can we just move on to something else? And there are also way too many lens flares in both this season and the first season, and they felt very distracting. Like, why are there so many lens flares? I mean, I thought J.J. Abrams was the only one that uses them, but this season was still enjoyable. I like the original characters coming back, and some of the new characters, not so much. And some characters I'm happy to see back, like, of course, Luke Cage being back. I like seeing Brett back as well. I was wondering how this show would bring him back because he wasn't in season 1. And I like seeing Ellison back as well. So I'm still on board for whatever's gonna happen in season 3. I'm still gonna support the show even with some of its issues, and I'm looking forward to seeing what happens in season 3. I'm gonna give Daredevil Born Again season 2 a B+. Yes, I know it's the same grade I gave the first season, but again, I do like it just a teensy tad more. So again, if you want to know more about my thoughts on Daredevil, please watch my reviews for the first 3 seasons and all the episodes of season 1 of Born Again, and my review for the Ben Affleck Daredevil movie. Oh boy, that movie was a lot of fun to rewatch. So guys, if you have seen Born Again season 2, what do you think about it? Do you think it's better than the first season, or do you think, no, this is still falling apart? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, if you like this video, then please leave a like and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss a thing, because it helps my channel grow. Hit the notification bell so you know what other videos I'm posting. Follow me on Facebook and Instagram. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.